rise up, rock with us, it's all groovy. Loosey-goosey, this is Scooby's doing movies. Get down and rock with us, yeah, and you'll see it's all groovy. This is Scooby's doing movies.
What up, Scoobs? Dre here.
Alex here.
And while you're here, obviously make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and bell to keep up with any new episodes, videos, and reactions that we drop for you.
Yes, make sure to do that and follow us on Instagram at Scooby's Do Movies.
Good times. Keller, podcast, episode 2.
Yes, we are doing a podcast. If you haven't noticed, this is our second episode. And we just want to talk about some things going on in entertainment and give our little spin on it.
Exactly. We have to kick off. Well, we just did a series of reactions, so make sure to check those out. Everything from the new Halloween trailer that they just dropped. We also did the new Nutcracker film.
Yes, Nutcracker in the Four Realms. And we did a reaction to the Colin Kaepernick ad by Nike. So make sure to give those all a watch.
Can't wait to see how we do in the comments on that one. Very controversial topics.
Doing some different things in year 2.
Yes, yeah. I like a big part of that is thanks to you, as far as it is. As you mentioned in our Nike reaction. Yeah, we don't just live in the Marvel and movie world. It's like stuff is actually going on in the real world. Yep. And I like the fact that from the Batwoman casting to the James Gunn news that broke a few months ago, like Keller, like she's very socially active.
Very opinionated.
Very opinionated, but I really mean it. I do like the fact that you've sort of been pushing the narrative. So it's like, hey, we have this platform. Let's use it for more than just, hey, aren't capes cool?
Yeah. Capes are cool.
Capes are cool.
And we want to talk about it.
Don't get us wrong.
But there's other stuff we want to talk about, too.
Absolutely.
But back to capes.
Back to capes.
We cannot ignore the fact that Entertainment Weekly just dropped some awesome images from Captain Marvel. We're getting our first look, and it's all over the internet. It's
the biggest story probably of the week, on par with the Kaepernick story, as far as went on screen rant before we started, and it's literally 3 of their top 4 stories. The Entertainment Weekly broke all these first images for the new Captain Marvel movie starring Brie Larson, Oscar winner, obviously, The Room. Yeah,
or I think we should just go through the images.
Yeah, we're gonna
talk about them.
We're gonna go through the images one by one. We've already looked them over though. Like, what were your initial impressions when you first saw them?
I mean, her suit looks amazing.
So good.
I'm so excited to see her in this role. I know we got the Skrulls. They actually are looking really cool. They did a really good job with them, and I'm just so excited to see her on set. And she had some awesome sound bites, or I guess quotes, because it's a written article. Pretty technical from the interview, and she was talking about kind of the flaws of Captain Marvel, and saying that she was it's like the human part of her that has these flaws.
Has a bit of a temper, she said.
A little bit scrappy. And
can sometimes be impulsive. Yeah.
And so I was excited to hear that about her, because we're not painting her as this perfect superhero.
Yes.
She is half human.
Or Mary Sue, as a lot of you fans will like to describe Ray as. Like, Mary Sue, for those of you who don't know, it's like a lot of times fanboys and fangirls use this term for somebody who comes off as too perfect. But I noticed they rarely ever say there's a Gary Sue. It's really a situation where James Bond is too good at too many things. I
mean Captain America.
Yeah,
why don't they call him Gary Sue?
Exactly. I think Ray got a unfair sort of reputation after that first Star Wars reboot movie, but. That being said, it does seem like Captain Marvel has flaws. Let's get into this right away. Again, Entertainment Weekly posted a series of images, so we're going to go through them one by one. The very first image is Brie Larson. Finally! Thank you, Marvel. Marvel, like a horny prom date, you really dragged this one out and made us wait for it. The whole night, I feel like, it's hey, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen?
And then it didn't.
It didn't, yeah. Kevin Feige has been sitting on this for months, like dropped nothing at Comic-Con. I don't even think there's going to be a D23 this year, so he's
We've just been waiting.
We've just been waiting. Like, we got in, like, Infinity War, that little, like, pager with the symbol on it. Like my movie theater went crazy when they saw that. Yeah. Officially, we're getting what that symbol meant. Obviously, and I've always loved the Captain Marvel costume as far as the redesign. Like, originally, she was Miss Marvel. She pretty much wore, like, a bathing suit, very Wonder Woman-esque.
They're giving her a powerful look. Like,
yes.
Strong, powerful, it's sleek. I like how she's standing with her hands and fists. The wind is blowing slightly through her hair.
Yes.
She looks majestic.
Majestic. Like, a couple years ago, or a few years ago at this point, Marvel and the comic books decided, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't have our premier female superhero running around in a thong. I'm like, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Genius idea.
Crazy.
And I mean, this looks like a suit she's ready to fight in. And like, it looks like the suit itself is strong. It looks
yes.
impenetrable, which I like.
She's a fighter pilot. She's in the Air Force. Yeah, like you said, military trained. I think Brie Larson can convey that strength. And again, primary colors, you got the red, the yellow / gold, and the blue. Very Superman, very Spider-Man. But at the same time, I feel as though, like you were saying, they militarize it. It doesn't look hokey, doesn't look corny. Like, you would believe that a superpowered officer would wear this.
Yes, it doesn't look like, your cape, I'm going to put on like a spandex bodysuit and run around in a cape and call myself a superhero.
With undies over
You're
top.
right.
Yeah.
No,
we're going to get more hate. We're going to get more people.
Just saying.
Some of those costumes look hokey. They need a redesign.
This looks like a real costume that like a military superhero would wear.
I think a perfect example would be how in the Captain America, the first Avenger, his initial costume when he's doing the USO tours was the star-spangly outfit with the corny cow and the wings on the side and punching Hitler in the face. When he went into war, they gruffed it up. They gave it more of a combat look. Same thing with Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they're going in that direction with her. I will say this is completely random, but this just caught my eye for some reason. Her belt to me looks like an Hermes belt.
I don't know what that means.
They're like $800 belts. You see them in Hollywood a lot. I clearly don't own one. But they're like these big belts that have a big H on them, so everyone knows that you spent $800 on your fancy belt. And like I know that's not an H, but I was like, oh, look at Captain Marvel rocking the Hermes.
Just like I've been trained from ex-girlfriends to know that if you ever see a B and L on the purse, it probably costs a lot of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, she got the purse in Chinatown, which is where I
go. I love that Kelly keeps it real. She's like, I ain't fancy, y'all. Yeah. All right, so we're moving on to our secondary image, which is... the description they give is, according to Entertainment Weekly, it's like Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. They said it's not going to be an origin story. They said...
I love that.
I love that.
She already has her powers. We're just seeing her, like, going in from the beginning, kicking ass.
Because as much as I like Doctor Strange, I prefer the Spider-Man formula better, where it's like, we know the story. And even if we don't know the full story, you can fill us in. Like, you can have, like, Sam Jackson give, like, a quick scene where it's like, I remember that time you got hit with alien DNA back in the 90s, and you got those superpowers. Like, you don't need to spend an hour and a half giving her powers. Let's get into the story. In this pic right here, we'll have, we'll also put a link to the Entertainment Weekly article in the description. But we have Brie Larson, part of what they're calling the Star Force. Yeah, the Kree sort of military, which consists of Korath, Diamond Hansu from the original Guardians of the Galaxy, which we talked about during our Shazam review, that he's sort of starring in 2 Captain Marvel movies this year.
Yeah, I love that because I think it's funny. It's like the universes are overlapping, but they're not. Like, Shazam is separate.
Yes.
But, like, he's in both of them as a different character.
Yes, and I'm sure you fanboys and fangirls know that Captain Marvel's, or Shazam's original name in the comics was Captain Marvel. Obviously, DC changed it for, well, yeah. So I love the fact that he's doing 2 roles. The Star Force is described in the article as sort of like the SEAL Team 6, or Special Forces of Outer Space, where she's a part of this like elite sort of military task force.
way more trained in uniform than the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, we're pretty much a bunch of drunks and criminals.
Right, no, this is like the elite special ops forces team.
And it comes through in this picture. Like, you look at them, they look like serious. They look like they came to do business. Yeah. Also, I noticed in this picture you have Jude Law, who's going to be portraying in the film Marvel, that's his alien name, who was in the comics, the original Captain Marvel. He actually played a big part in giving Carol Danvers her powers. There was a big explosion. Alien DNA got transferred from his body to her body. Comic books. So that's how she gets her power. Science, yeah, it was very faux science that would make Neil deGrasse Tyson wave his fist at the air. But,
or is it real?
Or is it real? But also I noticed that they said that Kevin Feige, the Marvel Grand Poobah, said that will not be how she got her powers in this. Oh. So, yeah, like, they have Jude Law's character in here. If they're not doing that, I wonder how she's going to get her powers. I'll be curious to see how they... Yeah, how they switch that up.
I don't know if I love that, but...
You don't know that you like the switch up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, stick to the
canon
story, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess, I trust in Feige.
Yeah, like, at this point, like, Feige hasn't steered us wrong.
Yeah.
I kind of believe that if he says we need to switch it up, I do trust him. And also in this picture, we have Ronan the Accuser, played by Lee Pace. Yes, Lee Pace, who was also in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Where in that movie, he was more of like a terrorist by the time we got to him. He was like a radical, sort of like chose to leave the Kree, what's the word I'm looking for? Civilization, their culture and everything, and became a radical. Think of him as like a space Al-Qaeda in Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, that's essentially what he was. He was a space terrorist.
Oh, okay.
He was trying to commit genocide.
I didn't know where you're going. Yes, it's true.
He was. He was trying to kill the whole planet.
It was just funny how you put that.
Space Al-Qaeda.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is the Space Force.
Yes, the Space Force.
But Star Force, but in real life it'd be Space Force. Going after him.
The fact that our president wants to create Space Force. Yeah, Mike, we're going to go down that.
This is where he got his inspiration.
We're not going to go down that road. In fact, I would not be surprised if the original name was Space Force, but after that, we need to change all that. Yeah. But like in this is before he sort of has exiled himself and is sort of going on this cleansing mission. He's still a high-ranking member of the Kree society, so I'll be curious. I hope this movie delves into not only his, but also Korath's sort of fall from grace.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to get that backstory, since we don't have that in Guardians. And
in Guardians, they came off a little like one note, a little like, I'm just evil for the sake of evil. I'm hoping by doing a prequel, they can fill in some of that character nuance.
Yeah, well, Marvel always seems to manage to do that. Well, recently. In the recent films.
We talked about this before. Yeah. In the early times, they had terrible times with their villains.
Yeah, but now like they're giving us villains that have a better background where you can see kind of what drove them.
Michael Keaton, Killmonger, Hela. Ooh-wee. Yes, I love current Marvel villains.
Let's get to the next one.
Yeah, next one. Not too much to say about this. This is that scene. It looks like an image of, again, Jude Law as Captain Marvel and Brie Larson as Carol Danvers.
Maybe some sort of training.
It looks like they're in training gear, right?
On here. Yeah.
It looks like space martial arts gear.
I was just thinking that. They're like going to karate class. Yeah, well, she said she's like getting really good at judo.
Yeah, she did say that. Like, and Brie Larson said she's been training. Like, not only has she spent time with fighter pilots in real life, but she said she's been doing like a lot of hand-to-hand physical combat, which again I love because I don't want to marry Sue. This is the first female superhero in the Marvel universe as far as standalone film. Obviously, you have Valkyrie, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, but she has her own standalone film.
And it's amazing that she's getting so like dedicated to this character. You know, she is taking the fighter pilot classes. She's taking the judo classes. Yeah. She's going into this like Tom Cruise going into Mission Impossible. Like, she is ready.
No, you're absolutely right. And I imagine to
step in as Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I imagine to your point, it's very similar to when Gal Gadot. 2 years later, we still don't know how to pronounce this.
I do. It's Gal Gadot.
Is that official? It is Gadot?
Well, now
see, now you're questioning yourself.
I'm pretty sure it's Gal Gadot. I'm going with it. Final answer.
All right. We'll say Gadot for now on. When she said she got the role as Wonder Woman, she said this is the first big budget. Again, there's Catwoman, there's Elektra, there's Supergirl back in the 80s. This is the first big budget female superhero. And most people see Wonder Woman as the preeminent female superhero, to the point where I've got Gal Gadot on my wall. So, yes. Yeah, she took it seriously. Same with Brie Larson. But again, not taking anything away from Wonder Woman. I don't want to compare Marvel to DC. But as someone who was formerly in the Air Force, I do have a certain...
Thank you for your service.
I'm just saying, I have a certain sort of affinity in my heart for Brie Larson. And I'm glad that she is sort of going into sort of this, like, very serious, very sort of uniform type of character.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I also, I do hate drawing the comparisons. We know we're going to have comparisons to Wonder Woman, but I think like when we go into this, we have to let them both live in their separate universes and just like respect each character for who they are and not like they're completely different superheroes.
Yes.
You know, so we can't draw comparisons.
Let's not do in the comic world what happens a lot in the real world, where it's like we like to pit women against one another. It's like
Let's just be happy that we have these standalone films with these badass superhero women.
Agreed. I'm totally with you. All right, so we move on to the next image. Here we have the Skrulls
coming up from the water,
and a lot of people were
worried.
Well, not this. I don't know. Maybe they were worried. I don't know. Why were people worried?
That they were gonna make the Skrulls look super corny.
Yes, they were worried about that. Yes, but I think a lot of people also were wondering or hoping / wishing that Secret Invasion was going to be the big sort of reveal at the end of Avengers 4, as far as like a lot of people were speculating that somebody like Hawkeye or Black Widow would get killed in the end, and then they would revert to their Skrull form, because I'm sure you fans out there know that.
I think we talked about that in our...
We 100% did.
Wrap-up review.
We did for Infinity War. We 100% did, because the Skrulls are shapeshifters. That's like their most defining characteristic in the comics. They invade planets posing as high-ranking members of society and government. They infiltrate, they destabilize, and then they take over the planet. Evil Mr. Burnfingers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's awesome that we're getting them in this film, and I'm interested to see if this is going to give us any kind of view into Avengers Infinity War, the fourth one, if it's going to like give us any kind of hints of who they might have invaded in the 90s that's secretly been a part of the Avengers the whole time. Dun, dun.
Yeah, like, you're 100% correct. Like, I wonder if... Yeah, maybe the fan theories, like, it's not one or the other. Maybe it's a combination of the two. Yeah. Maybe by the end of this one, it will set up Infinity War Part 2 the same way Ant-Man. Like, a lot of people were like, did you really need Ant-Man? I promise you did, because from early reports on set, they're saying that a lot of stuff that solves the whole Thanos snap takes place in the quantum realm, where they use the quantum energy to travel through time. Yeah. You had to do that movie if for no other reason except the resolution. I wonder if they're doing the Captain Marvel movie, other than introducing her, to set up the next phase of the Marvel Universe, in which maybe it is Secret Invasion going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I initially thought.
Yeah.
When I saw that they were going to be in here. I do want to say, I know I mentioned that we were worried they were going to look corny. Well, I don't know if you were, but I was.
Yeah.
I just...
I like the look.
Yeah, I do like the look. The thing that I just wonder about this picture is, why is this guy's jacket so long and why is his so short?
I love that's what stood out to me.
Like, is he like a special king of the Skrulls and he gets a long jacket?
You know, I initially just chuckled, but I'm sure, yeah, that probably, like, the length of his jacket probably does denote some sort of seniority.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
all right.
That's just what I...
Okay.
Yes, it's the subtle details.
Good eye, Keller.
The eye of a woman.
Yeah. Hermes belt and long coat. Yeah, okay. All right. After that, Ronan talking to Captain Marvel. Once again, Jude Law. I also, we didn't bring this up before, but this is a really cool detail from the comics where the original Captain Marvel suit was black, sort of greenish turquoise and silver when he was the male wearing it. Later on, he got the traditional Brie Larson costume. I like the fact that it seems like in the first picture we saw where they're all wearing the green and black, that maybe it's like the team uniform, but clearly maybe she goes rogue, maybe she goes off on her own, maybe when she comes back to Earth, but she does eventually get the classic blue, red, and gold.
Yeah, I think it's because originally she was with the Star Force.
Yes.
And now she's like, maybe once she gets her full powers, she, transforms to Captain Marvel, in which case she's like a solo agent. And I think, they do say how she says that she jumps into things, she's always quick to join the fight, she kind of does her own thing. I think that's probably her human flaws, where it's like, I can do this by myself.
Yeah, and I kind of think it's cool because the way they're describing her right now, it sounds like she is almost the perfect mix of Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, as far as Kevin Feige has said. She has the conviction of Steve Rogers, as far as, she always believes she's right, which is a big characteristic of Steve Rogers, where he's like, no, I'm doing it my way, I'm not asking for permission, get on board or get out of my way. Tony Stark also has that brashness where he can lose his temper, maybe leaps before he looks. It seems like she, especially going into phase 4 of the next Marvel Universe, where most likely RDJ and Chris are going to be retiring. They only have one movie left on their contract, both of them. It seems like instead of coming out with a new 1-2 punch, let's just take this one character, make her our new Superman, our new leader, our new central focus. And
Leader of the pack.
Leader of the pack. And 100%, she's going to be leading the Avengers going forward.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's why Nick Fury called her at the end, last movie, because we need her to come and clean up everyone else's mess.
And Kevin Feige has already said multiple times that she will be the strongest hero the MCU has ever introduced. He said stronger than Hulk, stronger than Thor, but also, again, with the conviction of Captain America, I'm so excited.
Yeah, and having that human quality to her, I think, is what's going to be different, because it's like when you have human quality, you think with your heart, you have emotions, you just don't see in black and white.
Yes.
So I think that's going to play a lot into her character and her role as Captain Marvel.
And I'm curious to see how her past 2-3 decades in space will inform her decisions once she gets back to Earth in Infinity War.
Also, I'm really just excited for the 90s.
Yeah, I mean,
who doesn't love that decade?
Exactly.
No.
I like Clueless, Spice Girls.
So I made up so many dances to Spice Girls.
American Pie, the 90s, very nostalgic for the both of us. After that, we skip to what is this? Brie Larson again. Going 90s, she's rocking her 9 Inch Nail t-shirt.
Yeah, her leather bomber jacket. I love that.
Her stonewashed jeans.
Yeah, it looks like we have, what's the hat?
Shield.
The shield.
Yes.
The shield hat. Yeah.
And, again.
I think. I mean, it is.
No,
legal.
it is. No, but great attention to detail as far as this is sort of the old Shield logo. If you remember the scene in the first Ant-Man where Michael Douglas, Hank Pym's character, I think it's supposed to be the late 80s, early 90s, it was the Shield logo with the more flared wings. As we move into more modern Avenger
it's a more
movies.
Solid wing.
Yes, exactly. It's more uniform, like a shield, actually. So I like the fact that, they actually went back to the original design.
That's a good eye right there.
Yeah.
I see an eagle, must be shield.
No, but attention to detail. And again, I think Brie Larson's just such a great actress.
A 9 Inch Nail shirt is awesome.
It's so 90s.
I saw them one time.
Did you, in concert?
Yeah, at Made in America Festival.
Really?
Yeah.
Lucky.
Good times.
Yeah.
Brie Larson and I have that in common. I mean, I guess Captain Marvel and I have that in common.
You're both giant 9 Inch Nail fans.
I wouldn't say I'm a giant fan, but I would just say that.
Let's not oversell it.
Yeah, I know. And they're going to be like, what's your favorite song? And be like, all of them? They were just on the festival lineup, okay?
They were there, and she got to see them.
Yes.
All right, so we jump to, oh!
I think they did a great job with this.
Absolutely they did.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, back in the 90s looking young. They did a really good job with the effects. I don't know how the hell they did it.
Now, it's kind of weird.
It just mumbled. I don't know how the hell they did it. I don't know if I said English.
Well, Disney, I think we all know by now, has been killing it with the de-aging technology. Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 looked like Snake Plissken, 80s Kurt Russell. Michael Douglas in Ant-Man looked like 90s Basic Instinct Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Hell, Michelle Pfeiffer in Ant-Man the Wasp looked like cool writer Michelle Pfeiffer.
I want a cool rider, a cool rider. That's Grease too.
One of Keller's favorite movies.
But yeah, I mean, he looks so good. Like, it's unmistakable.
Yeah, although I will say it looks a little. I always feel like he looks too young. Whereas you look at the earliest I remember seeing Sam Jackson in a movie was either Jungle Fever or even before that, Coming to America, where he played like the McDowell's robber. Sam Jackson's always had an old face, so I think they might have aged him down beyond what Sam Jackson, like the youngest he's ever looked in real life.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe that's why it works, because we don't know what he would have looked like in the early 90s. That doesn't make sense.
No,
I'm just trying to defend it. I just think he looks good, and they did a great job. But yeah, he does look pretty young.
He looks really young.
I do always remember him with an old face.
Yes. In fact, I didn't even know if they were going to use de-aging technology on him because I'm like, black don't crack. And I'm like, doesn't he look the same now than in Pulp Fiction? But apparently they did because he looks like he's like early 20s here. And again, apparently in this, he won't be the awesome, badass spy Nick Fury that we know and love today. He'll be more of like I think they said a desk jockey. He'll be more of like a paper pusher. And during this,
like the underdog.
Yeah, and this mission will sort of be the one where it introduces him into a bigger world of aliens and superheroes.
Yeah, just like, the guy doing the paperwork in the office, and then he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
We have a Star Force.
And don't forget the line in Captain America Winter Soldier where Steve Rogers is like, you don't trust anybody. And he's like, last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye. As we see, he's got both eyes in here.
Oh, this is cool.
This is like, a lot of people have been guessing this, us as well, as far as like, probably a Skrull infiltrates the S.H.I.E.L.D. organization, someone that Sam Jackson trusts. That's how he loses his eye, and after that, that's how he becomes the cynical, I don't trust anybody Nick Fury.
Just like the sheer genius of building all of this universe, these lines, everything leading up to each other.
Feige!
Mind-blowing!
He's the architect that keeps track of all this crap. It's amazing that he doesn't lose track of it and that he can keep it going. Like, man, please never leave, because there have been rumors that after the next phase, he might want to move on from Marvel. You can't! Marvel doesn't exist without you, Feige. Yeah. All right. After that, we jump to Brie Larson. Once again, Carol Danvers in her fighter jet. But again, she actually did the training with fighter pilots in real life.
Yeah, no, I remember when they dropped that picture. She dropped it on her Instagram a while ago.
Yeah.
Actually training with a famous fighter pilot. Should remember her name. I feel really bad now.
Yeah, but, it's all right.
Thank you, fighter pilot.
For teaching Brie Larson.
Yeah, and for serving.
Yes, thank you for your service. Yeah. Love that. And again, almost like Hal Jordan with the Green Lantern universe, why he's so perfect to play that character. Once again, a space cop. But basically, when you are a fighter pilot, and again, I never flew, but talking to a lot of fighter pilots, they do have this thing of extreme courage. Maybe not cocky. No, they're a little cocky.
They're fighting in the sky.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that's where it comes from.
I feel like a fighter pilot is more likely to be willing to go fight in space than your regular cop that's just on the ground.
Yeah.
They're in unknown territory.
And it's the whole mindset in movies like Top Gun, Tom Cruise, Maverick, Iceman, Val Kilmer, as far as to do this job, you have to believe you're the best in the world. So most fighter pilots are very cocky because you can't go into it. The mindset is like, do I know what I'm doing? Am I unsure of myself? Like by the time you're like a seasoned fighter pilot, you have to be like, no, I got this.
Okay,
yeah.
You're in that plane,
and it's on you. Mm-hmm. It's like once you get your orders, it's on you to travel to where you need to go and complete your mission. That's why I love the fact that apparently in the next Avenger film, she's going to be butting heads with Tony Stark and Captain America because she's going to be like, all right, Junior, that's cute.
Yeah, she'll be like, oh, boys.
Yeah,
you think that you're the best? Well, guess what? I'm stronger than you. I'm older than you.
It's true. Yeah. It's true because her power, she doesn't age. I guess technically Captain America, well, now because he's older by basically how long he's been alive, but he was frozen when he was like 25. Yeah. So she's lived more than he has.
She's more life experience.
More life experience, yeah. Because he pulls I'm a 90-year-old man, but it's like you were asleep for 75 years. Doesn't really count. Now, great point, Keller. Then from that, Maria Photon Rambeau, who in the comics was Monica Rambeau. For those of you who don't know, she was the Black Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel got out of commission. The power was transferred over to Monica. Once Captain Marvel healed and got back into the fight, she kept a portion of her alien power and changed her name from Captain Marvel to Photon.
Yeah, and what I'm wondering is because she's Maria in the movie, if since it's set in the 90s, if this is possibly Monica's mother.
Yeah.
And then she transfers on that lineage to Monica in the comics.
A great point. That would totally set it up because from 90s to 2018, that's a good 20-year difference. So she easily, if she had a daughter, could have grown up and maybe something happens to her mom, how Jordan style, how his dad died, maybe her mom dies and she picks up the superhero mantle in Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah, and Captain Marvel is I fought with your mother.
Yes.
Maria,
yes.
In the 90s in our fighter pilot jets.
I'll mentor you. Yeah, I'll train you. Yeah, all right. I hope they go that way with it. And I think we're wrapping up soon.
I think that's
the
last photo, aside from the cover.
Yeah, the cover, which, once again, it's almost like the first image where her in her awesome, badass costume. Side note, before we wrap up, Scoops, I will say that I do hope that in the sequel, we either get Photon as sort of her roadie, how Iron Man in the second one got War Machine, or how in the second, all these superheroes always have a black best friend. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, everyone needs a black best friend.
I guess so.
But maybe we should have. Well, I guess Black Panther was our main superhero, and he was
our sort of Captain Marvel, the first one starring.
Yeah,
because Falcon's never getting a movie. No one wants to see a War Machine movie. Sorry, I love you, Don Cheadle, but no one wants to pay money for that.
But the black best friend is always the cooler one. So
let's be honest. Yeah. Even like that scene in Winter Soldier where Bucky's "Can you move your Civil War," where Bucky's "Can you move your seat over?" and then Falcon's "No." The black best friend.
They're serving the realness.
Exactly. They're gonna tell you like it is. Before we wrap up, I do want to say that I hope that if we don't get Photon as the black best friend sidekick in the Captain Marvel 2, if you guys are a fan of Captain Marvel at all, Kamala Khan. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, who is basically, I love her character because in the comics themselves, she's a giant fangirl. Yeah,
just like you and I.
Yes.
She fangirls over superheroes, specifically Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
So then she fashions her costume after her.
Yeah.
But also what I love is that she's our first Muslim superhero.
Great call.
So
yes.
I would love to get her, get a sliver of her in Captain Marvel, or maybe a storyline that shows that she's going to get her own movie.
Yeah, and much like with the Black Panther movie, how it wasn't overt and beat your head with it, but Ryan Coogler specifically put in things that basically spotlighted the Black experience. Just one of the best examples, which blew my mind when I heard him on a podcast talking about this. He's well, it's no secret that the final act takes place on an underground railroad. I'm yes! Yeah. That totally makes you're fighting on an underground railroad. I'm yes, absolutely. So, with not beating us over the head with it, I hope that in the sequel, we can get sort of a underlying sort of Muslim message. Maybe bring back Red Skull, who's a Nazi, and it's all about purity and Aryan race. Something like that. But basically tie in the fact that because big arc in Kamala Khan in the comics is that not just that she's a fangirl, but also the fact that she's a Muslim American teenager trying to grow up in a world where we have the president that we currently have. Yeah,
and also it's we haven't had in mainstream media or film that I can think of really a Muslim that's the good guy.
No, I think you're right.
I
think you're right. Jeez.
I think not only to have a Muslim woman as a superhero in film, in America would be really great for what we're currently experiencing in our presidency and just current political state.
Yeah, and after our Kaepernick rant, we'll just leave it at that. All right.
Representation!
Basis, diversity. All right, sorry, we're gonna both start to rant.
Yep.
All right, we planned 4 topics for you today, but like this whole episode was just on Captain Marvel. It was a lot to go through.
It was a lot to unpack.
It was a lot to unpack. Like they gave us a lot of pictures, and once again, Kevin Feige with that whole prom date analogy. Can we get a trailer? God damn it! Like,
when?
stop teasing
Ever?
us.
Is it gonna happen?
Every month, like the nerd blogs report, it's like I heard rumors that this month Captain Marvel was dropping. But this happens every month for the past year.
Andre, like, what day do you think we should film?
Yeah.
When do you think it's gonna drop?
It's true.
Like planning our film dates around it, we're like, okay, guess it didn't happen this week.
Because you know it's gonna come like on a day we just got done filming.
Or you know it's gonna come when I'm out of town.
Yes,
that's when all the best trailers drop.
It's so true. I'll never forget the month you were out of town, and then we had like Infinity War, like Deadpool 2, like 2 other big ones dropped, and like Haley and Jake filled in for Alex. But it's like great, fantastic, yeah.
So we'll just keep a lookout for that one.
All right, Scoops. Thanks for checking out our breakdown for the Captain Marvel first look.
Seriously, if you're still watching at this point, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna keep making these podcasts that we're able to talk a little bit more in depth and just like in a relaxed environment, sitting around.
Exactly. Drinks, as Valkyrie said in Ragnarok, we're all gonna die. So drinks.
I'll have mine maybe next week.
Yeah, she's working up to it. But yeah, I'm really excited for this new format because not only do we, like you said, want to just like relax, just chit chat more, but also we're gearing up for our first ever live show for year 2. We live in Hollywood and we're actually putting together our first ever in front of a audience full of people, the first ever live Scoobies Do Movies podcast.
Yes.
We'll let you know exactly when the date for that is, and if you're in the Hollywood area, make sure to come out and see us.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted and let us know if you're interested in coming out to our live show because we're really excited and we want to plan it for you guys, whoever watches us and just our friends in the local area.
Absolutely. All right, Scoobs. Thanks for checking us out. Until next time. Oh, well, again, make sure to like, subscribe, hit us on Instagram. I've been Dre.
And I'm Alex.
Stay groovy, Scoobies.